flowed to her hips like a frozen waterfall, tumbling over her vivid red gown. To a human, her dazzling eyes were every colour at once, and none of them.
"Know to whom ye speak," she declared. "I am Callanan of the House of Thorn of the Talwood Teague, and my blood is pure."
"You are a twelfth, then, a princess of the fair ones."
She shook her head.
"The princess human. My great-aunt is the queen, and she's childless. Therefore I alone am heir to the throne of the 9 realms.
He gave her the slightest of nods, a scant acknowledgement of her station, and not one mote of reverence more. Others had died for less, and Callanan could have killed him herself if she'd been so inclined. Still, for the sake of the entertainment he afforded her, she could forgive him much, for a time. She'd often watched him at his forge, hammering hot metals into clever shapes, particularly that most fearful of all elements, iron. Years of striking sparks amidst the glow of flames had not bent his tall frame, they only had added strength. Even when he was clad in his dull brown tunic and scarred leather apron, his face streaked with soot and sweat as he labored over his latest project, she had had to admit that the comely child had grown into a very attractive man. Her people often took human lovers, and she'd begun to consider the delicious possibilities. This morning, however, Aidan had not gone to his forge as usual. He had not donned his rough blacksmith's clothing either. Instead, he had bathed at length and dressed in what passed for finery among these common mortals. His blue woolen tunic was open at the neck to reveal a pale linen shirt beneath. His dark rectangular cloak was newly made and clasped with a large heavy brooch that she'd not seen before. It was round, a Celtic cross set with 5 large garnets. It was a gift that a woman would give, and only a human woman could have done so. Anwyl. The raven-haired Anwyl of the village of Aberhonthie was the woman whom Aidan ap Fanfor planned to marry. Today. And that's when Callanan made her decision to spirit him away to the kingdom far below the Black Mountains.
"Release me, your grace," he said.
The significance of the royal title was not lost on her. It was hardly filled with admiration and awe, but it was devoid of sarcasm. This was not a man who would beg, ever, but she had just won a major concession from him. What else can I win? The thought of such a challenge excited her. She would enjoy playing games with Aidan ap Fanfor just as much as lying with him, perhaps even more.
"Nay, I believe I will keep you."
"Do not do this, your eminence. For the sake of my bride, whom I will wed this day, for the sake of the promises I have made to her and her family, make me not an oath-breaker, for ye yourselves do despise such."
It was an eloquent argument. Once given, the word of any of the Talwood Teague was unbreakable. In fact, humans who did not keep their promises to each other often suffered justice at the hands of the Fae. Callanan brushed her fingers over the brilliant scarlet of her dress and traced the birds and flowers embroidered there in silver thread and seed pearls.
"A man of his word is a rare commodity, so it seems fitting that such be rewarded. You may put your mind at ease on that point. No oath will be broken."
From her flowing sleeve she drew a black gem the size and shape of a robin's egg. Not a pearl or crystal or even an opal, yet it resembled all 3. Tiny flashes of blue, green, and purple sparked in its dark depths, and some Fae craftsman had dared to carve it with intricate spirals and ancient symbols. Callanan cupped it in her hand, where the stone gleamed and pulsed like a live thing. Bringing it close to her lips, she whispered a few words in the ancient language, then blew gently over it. A wisp of pale green light, like a luminous spirit, spiraled from the stone and floated towards Aidan. He drew back as far as the chains would allow, suspicious but unable to avoid the approaching wraith.
"What are you doing?"
he demanded of Callanan, and jerked as the eerie radiance touched him. Instantly his entire body was enveloped in a glowing green caul.
"I have simply granted you what you wanted."
The emerald light flared outward until it filled the broad expanse of the courtyard, illuminating every petal of each exotic flower in the labyrinthine gardens and every detail of the fine carving and crafted stone that surrounded them. The radiance brightened still until it was the blinding white of a star's heart.